we're gonna start with the board of adjustment, get that out of the way, and then move on to the regular scheduled events.
So we technically board of adjustment. I didn't know. I didn't know.
Change anything?
No, I don't think. What do you notice agenda? I didn't look at anything for board of adjustment. I never thought it pertains to that. And I'm in trouble. If I can see hers.
I think people probably steal some of these. Okay, alright, we call the meeting to order. We've got a lot to do tonight, so we're gonna start with the Board of Adjustments. Are there any additions to the agenda? Kyle? Or is
Not that I know of.
Then I would look for a motion to approve.
So moved?
Second.
Got a motion and a second, all in favor? Alright. We'll start with visitors to be heard. This is just on the Board of Adjustment side of things, not any of the planning and zoning stuff. So if you're here for anything there, step up to the podium. Okay, seeing none, we'll start with the public hearing for a variance application at 400 North Cherry Street.
Commission, so we got a variance here for 4 North Cherry. Dustin Spirlick, he's looking at putting a 10 by 20 storage shed. Just to store lawn, garden tools, similar items. Current ordinance states that a driveway must be put to the shed. He's requesting a variance to this ordinance.
So, as you probably saw in our agenda for the planning and zoning, there's a push to change that ordinance. I mean, you can't even get a vehicle in a 10 by 20 shed, so I don't know.
So Nate left me the requirements for a variance. First one is a necessary hardship must be established by the applicant who applies for the variance. Convenience, loss of profit, financial limitations, or self-imposed hardship is not considered grounds for approval. Second one is littler interpretation of the provisions if it would deprive the applicant of rights commonly enjoyed by other properties. 3 is the variance requested is the minimum variance that will alleviate hardship. 4 is granting of the variance will comply with the general purpose and intent of this ordinance. 5 is non-conforming use or structure in the same district, and no permitted or non-conforming use or structure in other district shall be considered sole grounds. 6 is exemptional and extraordinary circumstances apply to the property that do not apply. And as Nate wrote, based on the requirements of our ordinance, he cannot recommend approval. However, Nate and staff are proposing changes to this ordinance, so that they indicated that staff feels this requirement is overly burdensome. So we have to recommend we have to recommend denial, even though we're looking at changing the ordinance.
And basically, you just have to recommend denial because it's their job to,
And that's just staff recommendation.
it's their job to uphold ordinances.
Yeah.
If you look at number 4 in the requirements, I mean, the general purpose of that ordinance was probably to keep people from driving their vehicles to a garage behind their house. You know, and you're not gonna fit a vehicle in that.
A 12 by 10 shed.
Right, in that small of a shed, so so realistically, that would meet one of the requirements. I mean, it's still upholding the rule of the ordinance. But and I talked to Dusty because I couldn't quite read his little map he had drawn to see where the shed was going, and it's in the backyard that's behind a fence and down a retaining wall, like, there's no way you could drive a vehicle back there. So, even if it was big enough, the overhead door is only 65 inches wide, so I don't even think a Volkswagen would fit in there.
So the variance is asking for not having to basically put a foundation and a driveway up to it, is that what I'm understanding?
Not having to put a driveway to
Yeah.
Not having to put a driveway.
Not having
They're-
to put a driveway.
They're gonna do a concrete slab though?
it. If I remember right, it's a pre-built shed that has, so usually they like put down like a rock base and they just come pre-built, delivered, just set
Dustin
down.
here.
He's not here.
So if he was here, you could have him come up to the podium.
You know, like those sheds you see sitting out by Menards
Yeah.
or
Right,
whatever.
like Dakota Stores or whatever.
Yep, yep.
I mean, does it make sense to table this until we finalize the changes, possibly?
That's an option.
I don't know if that would
In his
change
case,
or-
I know that he's got the permit and paid the permit fee, and I believe the shed's already ordered,
Sure.
so that in theory, if we table it and don't do anything and he sets the shed, it would be a violation, and it could turn into something.
I think Nate mentioned if discussion of the accessory ordinance changes, I thought he said August would be
August would be the soonest.
roughly, because I think it's got to be approved by P and Z and then goes to council,
Yeah,
to my understanding.
yeah.
And just so I'm understanding, do all the requirements for a variance have to be true, or just one of them?
That I couldn't tell you.
I believe it just has to hit one of the points, one of the 6 points.
Thank you.
Yeah, variances aren't a common thing
Yeah.
that we do.
Yeah. I would agree with you, it still meets the general intent. And knowing the information that we're proposing changes.
We are to discuss the merits of the variance against the standards, not discuss the existing ordinance, but just the variance. We can put conditions on the variance, and so realistically, we could put a condition on it that if the ordinance is not changed, they're required to put in a driveway or remove the shed. Sure.
Yeah.
And that would be a
Condition.
way to stay within the scope of the ordinance, I believe.
Because the way I was reading the changes, it probably wouldn't be a variance
No.
given that, if that does change, so.
Right.
Depends on that square foot, because that wasn't necessarily written in there
Yeah.
quite yet, but.
So yeah, we can either have a motion to deny or a motion to accept with conditions if we'd like.
So what, I mean, I know it states in here that it's not meant to discuss the existing ordinance. I mean, the new ordinance, that would indicate a driveway is not necessary.
Correct.
Okay. Just want to make sure. I think it needs to be made clear that if that ordinance gets pushed or it doesn't occur, I feel like it's at the homeowner's own risk to set the building, and they might still be required to pour a driveway.
Right, that would be a condition we would be able to put on it.
Motion to approve the variance with the condition that, the ordinance, or the ordinance that is on the current plan and zoning agenda and passes through the city council, that is approved.
Second.
Got a motion and a second, is there any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. We'll move on to the variance application for the Singing Sports Complex in the Lennox School District.
So, board, this is a similar case. City of Lennox has received an application for a variance of the Singing Sports Complex for a cold storage shed to be constructed without the required hard service driveway. Again, similar with the last one. Based on the requirements of our ordinances, staff cannot recommend approval. However, the fact that we are proposing changes to this ordinance should be an indicator that staff feel this requirement to be overly burdensome. In summary, we recommend denial, but we wish we didn't have to.
Not sure if anybody's noticed, but the foundation is already poured for this out there. This one to me is a little different because it's 30 by 40 and it is large enough. It has 16 by 9 overhead door and a 10 by 9 overhead door.
So the representative with the school district told me that the use for this is going to be storing like track equipment. There's going to be no vehicles inside.
So do we know if the door is more towards the track versus, I don't know if that makes a
I
difference.
feel like when I was looking at it, it looked like the opening was to the north, but I don't know 100%.
If I recall from the footing inspection I did, there's going to be a 10-foot, I don't know if it's, I can't remember the size, but there's going to be a door I thought on the north and there's one on the west.
North and the west.
I'm with the school.
You're with the school?
Yes, there's the buildings and grounds, so there's the large overhead.
Just step up to the,
Yes.
just so the mic can pick you up.
So large overhead door is to the north side, and that 10-foot is to the west. So, yeah, like we said, it will be strictly track and field storage. We won't have any vehicles, there will be no electricity there at the moment. We might do something to get some lighting in there for like track meets and whatnot, so for keeping that stuff protected, 'cause it's not cheap.
Yeah. Where, we have a little map here, but where is it? Couldn't see very closely, but I know there's a gate along the fence there. Is it, so you would be able to drive a vehicle through that gate and into it?
Per se, yeah, it's 12 feet off
Yeah.
the fence both directions, so there's enough width there.
Yeah.
I'd say it'd be tough though.
Yeah. But mostly track stuff?
Yeah. The big overhead door is for the sole purpose of getting the new pole vaulting pit put in there.
Yeah.
That is extremely large. So well, they want the large overhead door and then the small one, just, we kinda wanted to set up like the one we have out there already on the, west end of the complex there.
Yeah.
Yep, that was gonna be, the football team can take full control of that one, and
Yeah.
they're not battling the back and forth through the storage, so.
Fighting over the space.
Yeah.
Okay. Any more questions for him?
Does that football one get used for vehicles, like, any vehicles?
Well, side by side, like they're bouncing around for track meets and whatnot, football games, so.
Is that considered, is that considered a vehicle? Or like a golf cart or those training carts? I wouldn't consider that technically a vehicle, correct? Okay.
Okay. Thank you. I mean, the whole parking lot's gravel.
Yeah, does this kind of go towards the exceptional and extraordinary circumstances? Item 6. Not necessarily the lot size or shape, but just the use.
Yeah.
I think it's different than the other one because it's a public, I wouldn't say public use, but it's for the school. It's not like it's a residential property either.
Right.
They're put the condition that if it ever is used for vehicle traffic, then the driveway should be paid for it since it.
Or it would just need to comply with ordinances at that time.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, I think at the time of change of use.
Right.
But to Liz's point, I mean, the lot is very large, it would be a very long driveway, right?
Well, essentially, they would have to pretty much
Pave.
pave all the way to the road.
Yeah. So it is,
Yeah.
again, extraordinary
But
circumstances.
technically, I mean, it's off the parking lot. I mean, the school owns all of it.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's school's parking lot, is it technically?
I don't
Or does it
know.
have to pave it to the parking lot, then part of the parking lot to get to the road? Open for interpretation.
Right.
Right.
I feel like to approve it, we have to have a very concrete justification for it. Because even with like the new ordinance that would pass, or that could pass, it would still not pass, would not be approved. And so there has to be a very justified variance for condition for it to be a variance.
I mean, we could put the condition that vehicles aren't allowed to access, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
signage or something like that would be probably acceptable.
So what I'm hearing is a variance would be necessary. We need conditions should we decide to accept.
Correct.
I don't mind the idea of a sign, but some along the lines of strictly no vehicle access granted, or something along those lines. Or even the condition is that, with the condition that there is no vehicle access utilized unless a hard surface is provided for driveway.
I think the circumstances are extenuating enough to merit it with the conditions.
Motion for approval of variance for, hard service driveway not necessary to the school's cold storage shed or the sitting sports complex storage shed, with the condition that if there's strictly no vehicle access used to the building, and if there ever is in the future, hard surface must be provided.
Second.
Did you get all of that, Kyle?
Does that make sense?
Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. I will, motion to adjourn.
Second.
We got a motion and a second to adjourn at 7:20. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. All right, we'll move on to the planning and zoning portion. Get my stuff straight here. Any additions to the agenda?
I move to approve the agenda as written.
Second.
Motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we would be moving on to visitors to be heard. Seeing none, we'll move to the public hearing for conditional use permit at 313 East Fifth Avenue.
Commission, the city has received an application for an in-home daycare at 313 East Fifth. Application was received in May and has been scheduled for a public hearing tonight. I completed a site inspection and my report is included in your packet. Staff recommendation is to motion to approve conditional use permit.
Yeah, Stephanie here. Why don't you step up to the podium there? I did see there was a few notes on Kyle's inspection list. Have you done anything with those, or?
The only one I knew about was the handrails, I guess, and I have those ordered, so they'll be here at the end of next week.
Okay.
Yeah, the handrails is the only thing I found missing.
Okay.
I'm assuming based on the age of the house, it wasn't a requirement. And then, because the
That's the
stairs
thing.
is only what, 3 or 4 steps each
Yeah.
way?
I think there's like 5, but
Yeah.
there's not very many. And it's only one set of stairs, the other 7.
Oh,
so.
Mhm. Right on.
So this lower level is where is what's gonna be used?
Yeah, primarily. The upper level will be used strictly for nothing, basically, just because it's carpeted, so
Mhm.
the other part's not.
So there's a walkout off the backside to the yard.
Did we get any public input on this one?
Public input?
Yeah.
Not that I'm aware of.
I don't see anybody out there that's here for it. Any more questions for Tiffany? All right, thank you. I like the little inspection checklist, that's nice. This is our first one since we changed that, isn't it? I think so. Well, we got any motions out there?
I move to approve the conditional use permit.
Second.
You got a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Okay, I'm going to close public hearing at 7:25. We're on to minutes from April 25th meeting. Probably an input out of Andy over there. He wasn't here. I didn't see anything.
I move to approve the minutes of April 25th.
Second. Motion and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Kyle, your turn.
Alright. So my report, construction update. We added 21 new building permits since last month's report, brings us up to 69 permits total since the New Year's. So May 2023 total building permit totals, we had one commercial at 36,000 value, permit value, 24 permits at 789, 335.20. Compared to last month, May 2024, we had one commercial permit at 54,964, and we had 20 residential permits at 2.5 million. My code enforcement update, I recorded violations from, that's our last meeting, May 23rd to June 20th. Had 4 parking on grass violations, 6 tall grass and weeds, 1 for ill-repaired sidewalk, and then 1 for an off-road vehicle. Any questions on my report on either construction or code enforcement?
That $2.5 million rate,
Yeah, I want to say
shouldn't that be under commercial,
possible.
not residential? Guessing that's probably the school.
Yeah, that's a typo.
Okay.
Yeah, the school was 2,450,000, so take that out of the residential and add that to the commercial.
Man, we got a lot of houses going up I didn't know about. Any questions for Kyle?
So all these code enforcements are they're just letters going out, they're not actual like citations.
No, I never issue okay, I haven't to date issued a citation right away. It's always a courtesy notice. Yeah, I always encourage people to call me if they have any questions in my letters.
Anything else? Okay, let's move on to new business. If nobody cares, I would like to start with C, if that's okay. Since we've got 3 gentlemen staring at me out there. We'll go to the preliminary plan for the Security State Bank.
I guess I don't have a memo on that one, but I believe this is for preliminary plan for the security bank. We got a letter from our city engineer, Mitch Meriden, about it as well.
So it looks like they are gonna put in a little road with a cul-de-sac on it. Do you know if they're splitting the lot into, are they replatting into different lots, or is it all gonna stay one lot still?
I believe it's all gonna stay one lot.
It's gonna, guardrail stock going James.
Hey,
Yeah, it's gonna be split into two separate ones. Security Bank will be developing the north side of that, and then the south side will be open to further development in the future to sell off the separate lots. Whether that's 1, 2, or 3, that all depends on who's looking and what they can get for it.
Yeah.
So, the cul-de-sac, Security Drive turns into a cul-de-sac connection off of Main Avenue, and then turn that over to city right away and what's on that. That's the plan.
okay.
That easement, there's no water that runs through that easement?
So
right now?
there is an existing easement there now. Good question. It was rural water before, so that water line goes across the property and over to feed Smith's, right adjacent to them, and then her father, and the two lots that are right there. So there's a water line that does go over there to feed them when they were on rural water. However, I think the city bought the rights to that line at some point in time, because the county does not, I called Lincoln, or South Lincoln County Rural Water, they don't have any record of it. It was, we were told that it was bought out by the city. And that's kind of what Dan and Annie was kind of saying too. The plan is with this, obviously that easement goes right through that north lot. They want to abandon that. We're extending new services up that cul-de-sac. That water main will be there that they'll connect, and we'll tie on right at that very west end. And then, so we could eliminate that easement through there, and that will then all be in right of way, city right of way, up to their curb stop, so.
So that line is gonna stay there? Or you,
No,
or
that'll be
they'll
a-
build 90 onto it on the
Yeah.
west end? and then-
Right, they'll cap it and then abandon it at the other end.
So is the city responsible for the road, or is it security bank that's doing the road?
City, Security Bank will build it, but it'll be turned over to the city. Yep,
So snow removal, et cetera.
yep. That'll become city right away, 66 feet right away.
That easement's gonna go away once that line is abandoned, or?
Yes, the plan is to release that. So right now, there's a right of way.
It's gonna go.
You can see it, yeah.
Yeah,
It connects right there right now, so.
this will go away.
Yeah, building, probably building is right here, this little store. You have access to that.
So this would be like, this is a commercial, this district, correct?
General business.
General business?
And the other lot to the south as well.
Yeah.
Nate was thinking the new city administration building.
There's a landscaping berm on the west side of the parking lot?
Yes, yep.
Okay.
So it's meeting all the landscaping requirements, they're going a little bit above and beyond too, to kind of help
Shield.
shield the property to the west, yeah.
Looks like a little drainage ditch there that the dentist office would have liked to have there already. Saw their basement got wet.
It's right adjacent to the dentist office, yeah, that's a pond, yeah.
A little pond?
That'll be a pond, that's a detention pond.
Okay.
And that detention pond serves the building site itself, the security bank, but then also the lots to the south as
Yeah.
well. So they can just come in and build whenever they need to.
So I hate to ask this, but has that on inside
Yes, for the whole development.
for the whole thing?
For the-
Okay.
For block one and block
I guess.
Yep.
So it meets the ordinance.
two. Yep.
I don't necessarily know, like, we don't have any actions or anything to take on it, do we? It's just more of a informational,
I think we'll go to the city council and get signed off on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, I think it was just kind of a,
Is it like if we had any comments or changes or anything? that should be adjusted?
yeah,
Yeah, I don't know if you gotta request approval to go to city council. Suppose it couldn't hurt.
how much time did you look through this, Kyle?
On the building side, looked at a fair amount, and already approved everything on the building side, we're just waiting on these zoning.
Looks like there's plenty of parking and everything.
Yeah, they've got more parking than they need, but it needs.
Right.
Yeah.
I'll probably just start parking extra vehicles out there.
You probably could.
So did Mitch do the review?
Yeah, yep. He had a couple of comments on it, we addressed those and made those changes in the final sign one, and Nate's seen it too, so. We've had discussions on it, meetings before.
I don't know. Maybe I don't-
I mean, it says,
Is this a multi-story structure? Trying to find an elevation.
Single story.
Just single
You know
story?
how tall that is, John? Gonna be ish? Different roof heights.
Yeah.
To it.
20, you know, off the, I'm John Bauer, this is Kyle Cadinger over at the bank. You know, kind of the lobby area has a taller glass ceiling, glass side, so it's probably like 22, 23, and then it kind of levels off as you kind of go over. It'll serve as just a straight commercial bank for us, plus we're gonna be doing a community room on it. And so that room will be separately secured and it'll be available to all of the nonprofits in the community in the area to use for board meetings, whatever. And so it'll serve as a training center for us and then we'll have it available for the community to use for your board meetings or what have you, so. You know, we were working with the neighbors for a while to try to get, you know, this drive in, drive out, you know, using, but it wasn't gonna go anywhere, so we just bailed on that and stuck the cul-de-sac in there and told Guard, just get it done, we gotta get it going, so.
Yeah.
And we didn't wanna have any, you know, we really didn't wanna have any variances or anything, we wanted to just, you know,
Yeah.
no trouble as we go through, so.
No, I think it'll be a good addition to the town down there.
The dentist did call me and said, hey, I want to review your drainage plan. And I said, well, no problem, Stockwell's got it baked with the city, so come on over and we'll show you what we're doing, so.
Yeah.
He called me Monday, so hot topic is
Yeah.
drainage.
I saw him pulling cabinets and everything.
Yeah, we saw some pictures.
So he got hit, huh?
Yeah, their basement really got flooded out. Single story, got some varying ceilings, flat roof-ish, you know, tons of parking. Got to come off Main Street though.
Yep.
any signs?
Yeah, we'll have a marquee, you know, on the north side catching the highway traffic. And we'll have a smaller sign off of Main where you enter the property, you know, more of a street level sign. But the marquee, we're planning to be on the highway, you know, up on the north by the ditch.
You know the size of that?
As big as you guys will allow us to. I mean,
Good.
not interstate sign,
Yeah.
but, you know, I like bright signs, so, yeah, we're gonna have a nice marquee there. And then we're gonna plan for a little, you know, for other occupants in this business park. So we'll probably have a little, you know, vacancy part of the signage, because, you know, the people that'll be behind us may want some signage too, so.
I think that sounds good.
Is 44 a state highway, right?
Yes.
So has there been like a coordination, or is there needed coordination with DOT or?
We did early on with the connection on the highway, before it was gonna wrap around.
Yeah, right.
Made that connection, so we got everything approved by them to combine, that connection with their drive, with Smith's driveway there. And so we're good to go, that's the route we were gonna go, and then it just didn't, it fell through with them, so that's what.
I think they'll have maybe a little different rules on the signage as opposed to the city does.
Yeah,
Just, I know
could be.
Chris out at the lumberyard ran into a little
Issues
issue.
with that?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay, so the state,
Yeah.
with signage.
yeah, yeah. But
So I don't know like how that ditch, and like if it floods or anything, but I mean, if it's Smith's on the west side, isn't it?
Was Smith, yes.
Smith?
Yeah.
So-
Smith's.
I mean, if they had water damage, I mean, like with that ditch, I don't know, with all the extra, I mean, I know there's a detention pond, but like, it's runoff from what this site was. I mean, adding it to that ditch, like, does it fill that ditch up more than two, and then like, does the culvert need to be upside?
No, it's all, the detention pond is detaining to pre-existing
Okay,
conditions.
okay,
Yeah, so it shouldn't be any issue, it's gonna be actually a little bit less
okay.
than what it was, so it should be good there.
Yeah, I mean, that ground sits a little higher kind of than everything around it.
Yeah, the high point's kind of more towards the west, it works its way down, or towards the east, works its way down, towards the west to the south, it kind of splits, there's a ridge kind of in there.
I did check the agenda items on board docs, and Nate's got a staff recommendation, motion to approve preliminary plan, so I'm assuming we have to, a motion needs to be made
Okay.
to approve or deny.
I guess whether it be final plans, these are preliminary that we review, or how does that?
It's the preliminary plan, final plan of the development, yes, this is what they're proposing to do.
Okay.
And, yeah,
So it's,
there's not much you can change to it, it kind of is what it is, it's not a very large development, so.
So it's for the subdivision, it's not actually for the bank, or?
For both.
Both.
It's for the subdivision, yes,
Yes.
and the bank's just gonna be a part of it.
Yeah.
Okay, I see.
Yeah.
I'll make a motion to approve.
I second.
Got a motion and a second, is there any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
All right, we will go back to number A. I like to say that because it drives me nuts when people do it. Ordinance number 652, accessory buildings and structures.
Commission, the city is proposing updates to the current ordinance regulating accessory buildings. So over the last several years, staff has discussed several times the nature and complexity of existing regulations for accessory buildings. Primary issue has been a lack of a refined definition for garages and sheds. Currently, the ordinance requires a paved driveway to a fairly small building, 120 square feet or less. The rationale for such a requirement has always been unclear, as such a building is not large enough for vehicle storage. Over the last month, we have further refined this ordinance with the assistance of the city attorney. The proposed ordinance in front of you tonight makes clear definitions and in doing so clarifies the requirements for both sheds and garages. Staff recommendation is to motion to recommend approval of the city council.
per what we already discussed, you can have any size of building, like for like an for accessories, and still not have a concrete approach to it. Like if it's just for lawn and garden, I mean, you can have it as big as you want. If it's for lawn and garden, it doesn't need a driveway to it as long as it's not for vehicles.
Currently, or?
On
in-
this
on
proposal, sorry, I'm not saying right now for an ordinance, I'm saying on this.
Oh, I thought we had sizing.
It doesn't appear to me to have a size, but I think there might be,
Cause I know that's what the 120 was probably why there was like a 120, it's beginning bigger than that, then potentially could be used for the vehicle.
Well, if you go 12 by 12, you still can't really park a vehicle size.
And there is a
Yeah,
blank
it's
there. If you look at 1A, it says with a minimum size of blank square feet and a concrete floor, defining garage.
but that doesn't mean you can't say it's not.
Right,
Park
that I'm
vehicle
doing
in
a
it.
shed, not a
Yeah.
garage, right?
I think we have to plug a number in there, right? Some.
Yeah.
And I don't know what other,
If there's any recommendations or changes, we can probably incorporate those to
Yeah,
pass on to city council.
yeah.
I don't know if other cities around us have a kind of a minimum we should look forward.
So I'm in Hartford as well. I'm the building inspector and code enforcement officer for Hartford. We don't have any requirements for the driveway, but we got similar if it's drawing blank. We really don't have anything regarding like the driveways going towards it and the size of the building. But I mean, that's something we can utilize as well.
What's like the minimum size for a garage? That vehicle, room on either side.
Like
open the
14
door.
by 22. I mean, you could,
Squeeze it.
I mean, you
Are
probably,
we for a pickup, or for a compact car? or-
well, you fit a car in there pretty easy. A pickup, 22 is about, like, you couldn't
Pickups are
have,
about 20.
you couldn't have a ball on it.
Yeah, 20.
You know, just realistically, after you take the wall out, you're really down to 21-ish. And I think that's about what a pickup is, it's about 21. A crew cab.
Are you asking to put a maximum on the shed or to clarify the minimum size of the garage?
I think the minimum size of the garage, since there's a blank there, that's, I guess, how I'm interpreting it is a minimum size for the garage. Because, I mean, currently there's a threshold for, before, like, basically for, if it's more than 120, then you need it. If it's less, then you don't
Right.
need certain things. I'm guessing that's what the shop is.
But then I'm wondering if you say the shed has a maximum size of this, then it automatically becomes a garage and requires driveway.
No, I think it's saying, like if we plug in to the garage number, anything less than that is a shed. Technically.
That's not how I read it right now, but
I think that might be the intention, but it doesn't say that.
I don't know if that's.
But
not-
also, I mean, you could build a garden shed
right.
that is 24 by 24, and you say you only put a 6-foot wide
Door.
on it. I mean, it's still a shed, you can't put a car in there,
Right.
but,
Put a big enough door on it, say it's a garden shed.
right, do you have to say, well, you put a garage door on it, it's a garage? I don't know,
We're gonna define garage doors?
right?
Right.
Yeah, this is kind of the hard part about all this stuff is, trying to find the,
Interpretation.
well, interpretation and finding the common ground, you know?
Yeah.
So people don't try to take advantage of things.
Exactly, you gotta look at it every which way.
What's 12 by 240? Say, I mean, that's probably like, anything starts getting bigger than that, it's almost a garage.
I feel like there needs to be a definition for automotive vehicle, or like, what's considered a vehicle, because like Kyle said, that, or I guess the gentleman said in school, well, they have side-by-sides, I mean, people driving side-by-sides all over the place, and they're putting all their, like a boat. Could you have a shed and put a boat in it? I mean,
If it takes fuel, but then that takes out your lawnmower too, so.
like, I mean, it states for a shed, it's lawn, garden, and ancillary household items. So I mean, that in itself,
Must be accessible.
You could add wrecked vehicles to it, I guess.
yeah. But you wanna be able to obviously put like a lawnmower, like a yard tractor, like, I'm saying like a decent sized yard tractor for people that have like larger lawns.
And is the intent to make sure that driveways are keeping lawns from being torn up and looking bad?
Thanks.
Is
Pretty
that-
much.
I think so vehicles aren't being parked in front of it on grass,
Yeah.
essentially. If it's a garage for a vehicle, they're inherently gonna park a vehicle in front of it. If they, a big shed and they park a vehicle in front of it, it's meant for garden stuff.
Instead of a motor, maybe if it's a licensable vehicle,
Ooh, that's a good smart choice.
you know? Because, yeah, licensable.
A registered
Registered vehicle.
State.
I think the goal of this is really good, because I think there needs to be clarification between a garage and a shed,
Yeah.
but, because it is muddy right now. But I think there's still some that can be done. I don't know what it is, but I just don't.
So maybe we need to spend a little time reading through it and decide if there's any verbiage we want in there.
Because the other one I'm thinking about is 3 feet from all property lines. I think that should maybe be per the setbacks.
I think that's kind of what's already,
3 feet is already
Yeah.
there,
Is
yeah,
that 3 feet?
yeah.
That's the setback for garage or like anything?
Detached
Detached.
accessory structures.
Yeah.
Attached, it's, depending on what it's
6 to
zoned, it's
5.
5 or 7 feet for the
Yeah.
property line.
Okay.
But again, if it's detached and within 10 feet of your house, then it has to either go to a certain, go to the other setback or have a firewall put in. Like if you build a garage, detached garage, and it's within 10 foot of your house, it has to have a firewall and stuff.
So does this kind of conflict a little bit? Where instead of 3 feet, we should say
No, because that's a different
part of it?
part of it. Yeah.
So do you need a motion to table until we've had a chance to review and recommend?
Sounds like a great idea to me.
So moved?
Second.
Motion and second, any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, we'll table that till next meeting, but I would say we have to come up with something next meeting, that way it can go to council.
Who seconded that?
Okay, let's move on to the plat for Icons Edition Tract Stokes.
Commission, the city has received an application for a new plat. Lennox regulations require plats from outside the municipal boundary, but within the city's growth jurisdiction of 3 miles to be approved by the planning commission and city council in addition to the city engineer. Plat has been reviewed by the city engineer and found to be in compliance with the requirements. The applicants have signed the required pre-annexation agreement. Staff recommendation is to motion to approve plat of Aikens Addition Track 2.
So are they just breaking a chunk off of a bigger lot?
I was gonna pull it up on GIS. It's, like on 277, there's, I think, the one property, and then it's like D&D's here, and there's intersection, and then it's, yeah, basically a bigger property and just squares it off in the corner,
Yeah.
looks like it.
Are they looking to sell it, or is it
Just, yeah, it says transfer of ownership.
transfer of ownership?
I'm guessing it was subdivided, it says area subdivided 4.85 acres, so.
Damn, my phone won't work in here. Yeah, guess I don't see any red flags or anything.
Is this like a, does it stay zoned the same way, or is it just?
Well, it isn't necessarily zoned.
Because it's outside city limits?
Right. Um,
Yeah.
That's why I was wondering if it was like for the purpose of someone to build a house there, or if they're breaking it off to sell it for a business, or if we knew what the plan was.
It's outside Lennox, it's none of our business.
Right.
Well, there's 3 buildings on it right now. Quonsets,
It's Quonset's.
I guess they're pre-annexation agreement. Says they'll comply with all existing zoning, building, and property maintenance codes, so. Yeah.
So probably whatever's on our, what's that big thing we came up with?
Comprehensive plan.
Comprehensive plan. Whatever's on there would be part of it. Okay, right there's D&D. Oh, so realistically, this is a chunk off of the bigger farmland.
yeah.
Okay, that makes more sense. So it's basically breaks off the farmland from those Quonsets. And then I think Albert and Warren's house is still part of that other lot. Yeah.
The homes to the east, you're saying?
Nope, the home's actually to the north of D&D. So that's where, like, the parents live there, and then the kid lives the other one.
This might be just for future
Yeah.
selling or,
That would be my guess.
It's a good spot
yeah,
for guessing.
motion to approve the plat.
Second,
Got a motion, a second, any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries for the Icon Edition Track 2.
Motion for adjourn.
second.
Got a motion, a second to adjourn, all in favor?
Aye.
Adjourned, 8 PM. Time to get home and watch the old debate.
The war. The war of the worlds.
Andrew, would you like to introduce yourself to the rest of the group here?
Sure, yeah. Is there a camera?
He's gonna go show it off.
Oh. Anyway, sorry, go ahead.
Andy Clenner, we moved here about, coming up on 3 years next spring, I guess. Work with a company called Niagara Brands remotely, so travel quite a bit. My wife worked at the school, plans to sub next year, and we got